Good morning to you. It's Brad Kearns, and it's time to follow me around for a day. First things first, it's the morning flexibility, mobility ritual. I try to get right to it, go straight outside without any distractions. And I might look at my phone for 5 seconds, but really building that habit to where your body is first things first every day. It's been such a great thing for me. Did you see how I walk down the hall? I walk like a loosey-goosey, healthy person. But for most of my adult life, first thing in the morning, I walked like an athlete. You know what I'm talking about, where you got stiffness and inflammation and imbalances, and it's going to take you a while to get going, and you walk like that, and then you go into your first workout and do a warm-up, and slowly but surely, pretty soon you're in the gym dunking the basketball or out on the track sprinting. But now, because I do this every single day, I feel like I have a higher platform from which to launch all my formal workouts, and I'm overall generally healthier, more resilient. I don't have that lingering stiffness and inflammation. So let's get right to it outside. Here we go. Okay, that was an abbreviated version of my morning sequences. Now I'm going to explain each one, tell you my counts if you're interested, and you can try to put something together yourself. I basically just made most of this stuff up. Some of it's referencing yoga and other moves that I've learned from professionals, but the first one, hamstring kick out, is this leg going straight up and down and really getting a good hamstring stretch. This thing's getting the adductors, right? So I do 35 on each side, switching over 35 there. And this is the clock starting from my core. So I'm off the ground the whole time as I move right into, I do 23 in each direction of the frog kicks. This is really great for the hip flexors. Also get some hamstring. And if I point my toes, I get my calf going too. Switch directions. Then I immediately go into the raised legs. This gives my core a little bit of a break. I'm trying to flex my ankles side to side, as you can see. And this is starting to challenge the front of the quads here. And I do 23 of those. And then next is the mountain climbers, I believe they're called. So again, good challenge for the core, the quads, calf muscles. And notice I'm pointing my toes in a certain direction for 23 and flexing in the other direction. So it's time to switch when I get to 23 and point the right toe. After that, core's getting pretty tired. Grab my feet and do that beautiful hamstring stretch, pausing here to stretch the calves, hamstrings. Then I go forward, pull on those calf muscles, and straighten up. This is also for that sciatica condition that's pretty common, where I'm stretching the muscle and giving the nerve a little bit of activation all the way through the back of the leg. And then I know it's time for the first really difficult, challenging one, the yoga wheel. And of course, that's a total body, legs, upper back, and arms. And I try to hold that for a count of 40. And if I'm feeling really great, I'll go for 5 more or 10 more counts. And that's just me counting. I've timed it, it takes about a minute. So I'm holding this thing for about a minute. And if you want to get a basic version of this, that's a lot safer. You can just hold this position. People do some of that too. But I like the wheel, especially because I'm a high jumper and I'm trying to get that back comfortable, bending over the bar. Come right out of that. And now I'm getting a really nice stretch on the front of the quads. I'm not holding any stretch for too long. I want to be careful with any kind of static stretching, especially first thing in the morning. So I'm just kind of moving over into the side-to-side leg swings. These are really good for the glute and also the hip flexor, just increasing mobility. So I'll get 15 of these, hold the stretch for a count of 15, and I'm bringing my arm into the mix now, so I'm getting a little bit of shoulder dynamic stretch. Switching sides, so I do 15 swings on this side. Hold this stretch, working the shoulder, and then I go immediately into these leg circles. This is a new addition to the program. Really fun and great for the hip flexors, great for the hamstrings. So I'm trying to make as wide of a circle as possible. I'm pushing in with the other leg in my hands, and it turns out to be pretty challenging. So 15 in one direction, 15 in the other. Then I go right back over to the other leg, 15 in one direction. So on the video, taking you through it, I did, 7 or 8 instead of 15, 10 instead of 20, just so you don't get too bored. Done with those, and immediately roll over into the lovely downward dog centerpiece of yoga. This is great for the shoulders. I'm also making sure I get a good calf stretch, holding that the whole time, and then moving right into Cobra. Of course, I'm stretching my back again, similar to the wheel. I'm also working on my neck here, because when you high jump and you flip over the bar like that, the next day my neck's sore a lot, so I want to get really good and strong with the neck there. Taking it back down, then I step through, and this is a great glute stretch. Previously I was doing the stretch where you lean over, your leg folded underneath you, and I think I hurt my knee there. So again, being really careful with anything that's a static stretch, and this feels much more comfortable, less risk of overdoing it. So I'm holding this for a count of 15, and then going into hip flexor stretch for the other leg now, raising up high, holding that for a count of 15, and then grabbing the foot. And now it's still a hip flexor stretch, but I'm also getting the entire front of the quad. Finishing that, step through, other side, same thing. Hip flexor, the all-important hip flexor that we mess up so badly when we're sitting in chairs all day. So you can't get strong enough or flexible enough there, can't do enough stretching there. Grabbing the back with the other hand. And then the final step through to another hamstring stretch, but I'm also trying to get those nerves and alleviate that risk of sciatica. So I'm holding this for a little bit and then pushing through to straight back. Again, great hamstring stretch. Counting for 15 on all these, and then I go down into the deep squat, and great for the calves, hip flexors, lower back. Finally, hands behind my back. This is getting a good stretch to the forearms and places where I'm vulnerable to a tennis elbow, so I gotta keep those forearms stretched out. Also, of course, lower back and hamstring. And then we're done with the outside portion and we go into the pain cave. Kitchen time. Okay, that was kind of hard work, so it's time to get something to drink. My first little concoction is a warm beverage. Thanks, Mark Bell. Love this kettle that makes colors and noises when you heat it up. And I'm putting in my electrolyte bomb, which is a bunch of stuff. Primal Kitchen collagen, magnesium, sodium, potassium, glycine, and some keto powder. I'm going to do a little extra of perfect keto. This is exogenous ketone base. Not too much. There's some in here too. Trying to take 30 grams of collagen every day per Mark Sisson. So I'll hit that. Some MCT oil. Believed to help the brain function in the morning, especially when you're not eating a big dose of carbohydrates. I like the gold powder, Organifi Gold, mushroom turmeric, and I'm going to stir this thing up, and it'll take a little time to cool down because I don't have a coffee mouth. Get burned really easy, so I'm going to wait a little bit, and then meanwhile get ready for a busy day with a big, huge, clean canteen. What is this, 64 ounces or something? Custom designed. So I like to put bubbly water in there with the second greatest invention of our lifetime, the soda stream. The first great invention of our lifetime is the iPhone, which is in use right now. So both of them in one video. It's about 3/4 water. Lots of ice in there too. And then a 1/4 with my homemade kombucha. Yes, I just used the bottle, put my own brand on it, defacing. There's my other products harvesting up there. It'll take about 2 weeks, and then I put them into the smaller bottles, do a second fermentation. Usually I like lemon and lime for second fermentation. I also do the good earth sweet and spicy tea, and I have this wonderful homemade kombucha that flavors up my water really nicely. The last but not least going in there is a healthy dose of real salt, ancient mineral sea salt from the lake bed in Utah. And when you can salt everything you're drinking a little bit, and not too precise with the ratio, right? But it helps get absorbed better, because if you hit yourself with a whole bunch of water, that delicate sodium and liquid balance in the bloodstream, a lot of times you'll just pee out all that water you drank after your hot, sweaty workout. So always add a pinch of salt, especially if you're in that healthy, low carbohydrate, keto, carnivore eating pattern where you're not eating these high sodium processed foods. So I'm getting my drink ready. It is that important time to take some mofo pills. Hey, I use a lot of it What the heck? What can I say? My name's on the bottle. We're going to hit 6 right now. So I'm not eating my first meal for several more hours, but what I'm doing now is I'm getting my digestive circadian rhythm started. Anytime you ingest something besides water that needs to be processed by the digestive tract, it kind of wakes up. And there's some good research that you want to align your digestive circadian rhythm with your circadian rhythm in general. In other words, stop eating after dark. You've heard that. It's becoming more and more important, more and more scientifically validated that the digestive tract does not like to operate after the sun goes down, because all these different hormonal processes kick into gear unless you mess it up with artificial light and digital stimulation after dark and eating meals late at night. In the morning, when the sun rises, these are these hormonal cues. My melatonin drops, my serotonin rises, my cortisol rises. All these adaptive hormones serve to have me feeling alert and energized in conjunction with the rising of the sun. And so one thing that can facilitate that or promote that is to get your digestive system started too. And it doesn't have to be with calories. It could be with tea or any of these moderate calorie items. So I'm making a better effort to do that in the morning instead of just drinking water. But sometimes if I'm running off somewhere or doing a workout, it'll be something really quick, not this elaborate thing. Let's see how this is doing. Okay, we're ready for the morning swim. Off we go on the beautiful nature trail to Lake Tahoe. Okay, as I talk about on my podcast and Mark's Daily Apple, ordinarily this session would be a 20-30 minute jog, which I've done many mornings my entire life, adult life, for the past 40 years. Head out the door, go for an easy jog, of course, not risking the chronic cardio patterns and exceeding aerobic heart rate. And this year, I don't know, my brain turned the corner and I pretty much ditched my go-to jogging exercise in favor of a more varied workout where I do jogging a little bit, getting warmed up. Then I'll do a series of running technique drills or jumping drills. You can see those videos on YouTube too, the running technique drills beginner, intermediate, and running technique drills advanced. But I'll mix in things that are a little difficult, and then I'll walk it off. I'll vary the pace. I'll put in some challenges that stimulate my mind, my body, build my balance, mobility, flexibility, instead of just turning on the heart machine and letting it run. So I feel like I still get a fantastic cardiovascular workout. Even when I'm walking, jogging, doing the drills, obviously they're explosive, so my heart rate goes up high, but I stop in a short time and recover and walk. So the entire time I'm out here, I'm still getting a good cardiovascular training session. I don't have to peg my heart rate at the same number for the duration of the thing, and then I get a chance to throw in these other fitness benefits rather than just moving straight ahead in a straight line with my legs one foot in front of the other. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just kind of taking it to the next level, and I'm not losing any cardiovascular conditioning by varying up my workout, and it's a lot more fun. All right, back we go. I don't even get dressed. I feel like an old-time triathlete running in the meadow in my bathing suit. By the time I get to the car, I'm all air dried, put my clothes back on. Nice little morning outing. How many dogs get to do 2 sports in the morning instead of just one? I guess you could count 3 hunting, because she's looking for squirrels right now. Of course, you want to walk after that one and catch my breath pretty soon, start jogging again, make my way back. Come on. 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 Yeah.
So sit up straight, lift your shoulders up toward the ceiling as high as you can. Slowly lower them all the way back down. I'm just going to get a feel for what's involved here. Feel that on the left. And come back up. Down. Put your hands on top of mine. Come back to me. Take a deep breath. Blow it out. Look up at the ceiling and just relax. Oh boy.
Time to go to work. I have a very expensive stand-up desk, as you can see. This cost $10 at the home supply store, and I'm right there at my perfect height. I love the hydraulic desk and all that fancy stuff, but if you just want to get started, no excuses, just get a stool, find something that works for you. Trying to split the distance between my keyboard and my eyes looking down. Obviously the screen would be better here, but not my hands, so that's kind of our stand-up desk setup. And I can't last too long in robot position. I need to rest my legs and do different things, so you can see I have this little cushion here, and a lot of times I'm putting one leg up like that, going strong. I might switch to wrapping my other leg over there and just resting on it. All of this stuff is allowed per Katie Bowman. It's all about workplace variation, not just standing up, which of course is a great move, but if you can vary your position throughout the day. And now, so many of us working at home, we have a great opportunity to do that. Look at this fun thing. So it's kind of a balancing wheel. If you work really hard, you can stand up. I'm not doing that too much when I'm typing, but maybe when I'm just reading something, I could play around and work on my balance a little bit. If you lean back, you can get an awesome calf stretch and hold that there. Look at my video about curing plantar fasciitis. You hold these stretches for 2 minutes, and it's a great way to lengthen those calf muscles and take the pressure if you do have that kind of pain. Alas, after a while, I might get tired of standing up, period, so I can move easily over to a basic situation. Esther Gokwe, one of our most popular presenters at PrimalCon back in the old days, talking about proper posture and use of the body, and she advocates sitting on the edge of your chair so that you can stack your spine, preserving a straight and elongated spine at all times. So that's one way to do it. If you want the chair, you make sure to move your butt all the way back in the chair and then roll back into position. So I'm still preserving a straight and elongated spine, but what I don't want to do is allow the chair to sag back and allow me to slouch in a chair. Even those fancy leather work chairs that are hundreds of dollars, you can still end up sitting like this. And this is what you don't want, is that pelvis rocked back and your spine curved. So most of the time, I might just sit like this. And when your spine is stacked, that's the most comfortable position to be in. It's more comfortable than this or this. So edge of the chair or using the seat properly. This is good when you're driving. When you're first driving, sit in your chair and push your butt as far back into the chair as you can go, and then load the spine onto the cushioned seat, and then you're comfortable for hours of driving. Maybe I'll get tired of this position and I'll move to number 3. And number 3 is the low desk, conveniently located right here. Using the Bosu ball is great. You don't need one. You can put the stool down, the same stool we used before, right? Because we're going for variation. But I love getting that ball and putting more time into the all-important squat position. So important for longevity to be able to lower down and hold that deep squat. And of course you can vary the load here, but trying to preserve that straight and elongated spine at all times. There's variation possible here too. Mark Sisson archetypal resting postures video where you can do all kinds of things. Anything goes as long as you're varying the load and not getting your knee bent in this position for 42 minutes straight. That doesn't work for me anyway. And pretty soon I'll get tired of being down here and go right back up to where we started with the stand-up desk and having a great day of varied positions, and of course those important breaks that we're going to take once in a while for micro workouts. Okay, time for a late lunch. So simple. What do we have? Steak and eggs. Say no more. But there is something more. What's over here? What we have here is frozen sliced liver. So lightly thawed, just enough to get a really good knife down and make some slices. And if you consume it in this raw frozen state, it tastes pretty good actually. I like to salt the heck out of it with my Redmond Real salt. So thanks, Dr. Paul Saladino showed me this trick. Salt it like crazy. Pretty chewy. It doesn't have that unpleasant gooey texture that the cooked liver does. So try it out. If you can't even handle this, at least we got your ancestral supplements. Mofo, beef organs, many other things. So easy. Swallow capsules. But going for the real deal, the raw grass-fed liver, one of the most nutrient-dense foods on the planet. Going well with steak and eggs today. What's in here? Chocolate cupboard! You know I'm a big fan, and I have carefully selected the best bars on earth, some of them right here for you to check out. Lily Bill in Central Oregon, stopped there, met the guy, bean to bar, artisan dark chocolate. Taza makes a good product on Amazon. Blanks Art, this is from Spain, but I found it in a local grocery store. I'd say this is my very, very favorite. You know what it goes well with? Brad's Macadamia Masterpiece. You know what else is cool? 1 spoonful of this. Mia Moore swears by it. You go out and hike for hours and you feel great. Dip chocolate in there, whatever you want. And that's the commercial of the day. Thank you for watching. This is the micro workout area. A very small space with a few key things will rock your world with the most amazing and versatile and varied workout you can get. Oh, my gym's closed, I'm getting out of shape. Come in here, this place will have all that you can handle and then some. So the big thing about micro workouts is that you have to take those breaks from prolonged periods of stillness when you're working at a desk. And so I don't want you to feel intimidated or feel like it's too much or you're too busy and I have more free time during my workday. So really, coming over here, wherever here is, right? It could be right in your cubicle. And if you just have 1 minute to spare and get up and do 20 deep squats with good form and then head right back to work because you're working on deadline pressure, whatever. These little tidbits can make a huge difference, but I want you to do something that's doable and achievable and not intimidating. So I'm going to show you some fun stuff. If it's too much or takes too long, figure out your own thing. But for me, I can always spare a couple minutes to get my blood flowing and the oxygen delivery in my brain better, the neurons firing better. And when you get up from a still position, when you're still for as little as 15 or 20 minutes, you experience a noticeable increase in insulin resistance and decrease in glucose sensitivity. What does that mean? You start getting a little bit foggy. You're not quite burning fat as you will before you sat down. And when you get up and do a minute of exercise, everything turns around. You start kicking into fat burning zone. Your concentration is better. So these things will make you more productive throughout the day to take a minute break. The stretch cords are a great implement. I have them hanging, and you can also put them through a doorknob, so you don't need to have the elevated thing. But I'll do some good core exercise, just abbreviate it. I usually do 20 of these, each direction. And what I'm trying to do is face forward and put all the load on my core, rather than twisting the spine a lot, right? So I'm just trying to engage that core against a stable base. So this micro workout is one simple set with the stretch cords. Now I'm working on the posterior, the back. Do 30 of these. Start to really feel it, especially holding it at the end. And I'm going to take little or no rest and move right into the lats. This is what the original use was, these for swimmers on dry land, to work those swim muscles and get an incredible muscular workout in far less time. My final set is turning around and doing a chest press. And after 20 of those, I can feel it in the front. So I worked the front, the back, the lats, and the core. The whole thing takes 1 or 2 minutes. We're back at work. There's a good choice right there. These things are $30, $40 on Amazon. A quick X3 bar workout. One of the great innovations I've seen in fitness. What an incredible concept. Dr. John Jaquish, biomedical inventor, and he came up with this cool thing. And when you're using these heavy stretch tubes, what you get is the maximum load in the area where you have the greatest force production. Okay, so if I'm doing a squat with this thing and I go up to the top, that's where it's most difficult, right? Where I'm stretching the band to the maximum, and it's easiest down here at the bottom. But when you have a heavy bar on your back, it's the opposite. I can't squat 300 pounds because I can't lift it from here to here, the most difficult part. But if I were able to get it up this high, now I'm effectively, with this heavy band, putting a lot of load on my muscles, more so than I could when I'm limited by the weight of the bar. So what happens is you do a very short set with these straps and the safety of the X3 bar. You can see the plate I'm standing on and the metal bar that's putting me in a safe position. Oh my goodness, in a very short time, I'm getting total muscle exhaustion, especially when I get tired of going through the full range of motion. So I work a shorter range of motion, and there's really nothing like it. You can hear in my breath, this is like everything I got to finish this tiny little set. Oh, okay, again, this bar, X3, gives you a total body workout. So you're working the different muscle groups. Notice the different size band. So now when I'm doing a chest press, I'm using the biggest band because I can get anywhere between 15 and 30 reps. That's the choice of the band. Just like I described with the squat, the easiest resistance was from here to here, and the toughest is out here. So when I was doing my demo with Dr. Jaquish, he was saying, you're benching 260 right now. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I can only bench 130. But from here to here, I'm effectively putting out a lot of force because I'm allowed to with this stretchy band. And I can do this just fine because it's not stretching that much. So what happens is you get totally fatigued in a very short time. I gotta limit the range of motion. The X3 protocol is a 10-minute workout. That's it. 6 days a week, 1 day off, and you'll get amazing gains. How can that be with only 10 minutes? It's because the nature of the exercise is fatiguing the muscles totally. Remember when I said I'm getting effectively 260 pounds of force when I'm out here pushing hard, and then when I'm doing the limited range of motion, I'm also depleting all the glycogen, or my muscles can't fire at all anymore. You simply can't do that with heavy weight. And you'll see in the span of a 1 or 2 minute set, you're cooked. It's fantastic. Very short, effective workout. Okay, we're trying to live a balanced life these days, so let's work on balance. This fun little thing is a wonderful drill. Thank you, Blanka Vlasic, number 2 female high jumper of all time. I saw her on YouTube rehabbing an ankle surgery, and boy, didn't look that hard, but if you just try to balance on one foot, it's a pretty cool exercise. And of course, the ankle and the stabilizer muscles, the tiny stuff that doesn't really get worked when you got a heavy bar on your back and you're doing squats, and then you find out that you're a little bit deficient in stuff like this. Put this into the mix. And what a wonderful break from using your brain at the desk. You saw this one when I was at my stand-up desk, and now I can try to quiet those sewing machine muscles and get into that still point and solve all the problems of the workday anyway. When I'm standing right here, all the new ideas come to me. It's incredible. Did you notice how comfortable and functional my clothes are? Thank you, Viori. They are known to be fashionable, stylish, but also really great to work out in. And it's totally true. I've put these things to the test. Swimming in the ocean, dining in a fine restaurant. Me and Moore can attest on our road trip. I wore these every single day, and they work great. So the micro workout's perfect. All right. And then finally, the balance board. And this one, I would say, is a little bit advanced, right? Because you can do some wiping out. So be careful, or have a something to hold on to if you're just learning. But this is training for wake surfing, one of the best sports in the world, and purposely going back and forth, trying to hold it in the middle, and not easy, lots of fun. "20 minutes is sufficient to refresh the sodium-potassium pumps that fire the brain neurons." When you say you feel fried, it's literally true. The electrical circuitry in your brain is depleted, it's fried, and so a short nap makes a big difference. Got a little sun exposure vitamin D too. A 20-minute sunbathing session exposing large skin surface areas of your body to direct sunlight at the times of peak solar intensity, times of day and times of year, is sufficient to generate around 10,000 international units of vitamin D. The number one source in the diet, oily cold water fish, gives around 1,000 per serving. Sunlight is a vastly more effective way to get your vitamin D needs met. There are also some peripheral benefits to getting sun exposure onto your skin, the hormonal processes that take place. We need that sun, especially when it's strong enough to facilitate tanning. So if you're able to tan, if the sun's that strong, that means you're making vitamin D. If I were to lay out in direct sunlight during the winter months, even for 5 straight hours right in the sun, I wouldn't get tan at all, because the sun's rays are not intense enough for several months out of the year. At the latitude that I live in, depending on where you live in, the equator obviously, you could probably probably tan year round. And if you're up at the higher latitudes, 45th parallel or above, you have 4 or 5 months where you can't make any vitamin D, can't get tan. So tanning is the cue that you are making vitamin D. Try to maintain a slight tan throughout the season in your area, and then your body's really good at storing vitamin D and using it over the winter months when your vitamin D exposure is nil. And you can also supplement with a quality vitamin D3 product to make sure those levels are high. Traditional blood tests are saying that 30 nanograms per milliliter is sufficient or normal, and the vitamin D advocates, such as Dr. Michael Holick, author of the Vitamin D Solution, wants to see you at vastly higher levels, 50, 55, 60. Dr. Phil Maffetone recommended he wanted to see mine at 75 when I was proudly showing him that my vitamin D level was 55. So the more sun you can get, the better. I know we have those risks and concerns about skin cancer, so the areas of your body where you're getting a lot of sun exposure, the face, maybe the back of the hands if you're out working, of course you can screen those routinely or wear a hat and protect those areas from sun exposure. I'm not making a lot of vitamin D if I cover my face, right? I'm not losing a lot of vitamin D potential if I sunscreen my face and my nose and my ears routinely. It's just getting that big exposure to the big skin areas and banking a lot of vitamin D during the summertime. All right, more micro workouts. This is a fun little one I invented myself. Sorry for the presentation here. We're a little bit of a work in progress, but hey, this video is real life, not airbrushed. So I'm doing the best we can right now.
Hey Brad, what's that?
Oh my gosh, popcorn! Those are carbs. What are those doing here? Well, occasionally we like to enjoy life, have a little popcorn, restock glycogen, right, Ben Greenfield? Yeah, no big deal. Carnivore-ish pattern working for me. How about you? Enjoying your life? Good, thank you. Look at this fun little drill. Okay, I got some contraptions like the stretch tubing, some giant carabiners, these ankle cuffs I found on Amazon, and this is especially for my passion for jumping, but a great workout for anybody. And I bring the ball in so I can kind of explode off there. Don't worry about the dog, she knows to stay out of the way. Explode off there and drive that jump leg. Also a good balance workout because I'm taking off from the softball, and I'll do 10 on each side. Just like high jump. Or if you like dunking basketballs, this can work too. 9, 10. Little modification is just working that front of that quad. Skiers, people that are interested in preventing knee injury, this kind of stuff goes a long way. And again, only asking for a minute. Take a minute, do some drills, get back to work. Great stuff. All right, you can't get any more simple, effective, and actually torturous than the mini bands. And this one's called the ballet dancer, where you just tap over. My knees are bent the whole time. Spine is straight. I'm not leaning forward like that. So the spine is straight, balance center of gravity. And this is really the ultimate glute workout to get those glutes firing like Tiger Woods says. And pretty soon it's going to start to burn like you can't believe. And if this is your first time, get ready to be sore tomorrow. But if you can throw in a little bit of these every day, whatever sport you're doing, fantastic injury prevention. It affects all the muscles and the joints and the lower extremities if you can get those glutes strong and stable. Most people don't have them because they're sitting all day and putting the glutes effectively into a prolonged stretch, which weakens them when you're sitting in a chair in that manner. So get up, get out of the chair, do a little bit of this tap dancing. I can start to feel it burn right now. And I'm wearing a black band. They come in all colors from yellow, green, blue, and up to black. So whatever feels comfortable. You don't want to put too much resistance on because you want to make sure the load is here rather than being too hard and having your knees cave in because you're working too hard. So I'm trying to keep that knee over the midfoot at all times. And you might have seen monster walks, and there's different variations that you can use with the mini bands, side to side shuffles. So whatever you like to do. And again, the workout does not last too long because pretty soon you're gonna be burning up. Good stuff, mini bands. Okay, so you saw my elevated leg Bulgarian split squats from the morning routine. And to elevate the degree of difficulty, you notice my hand was up in the air pretending I had a kettlebell. So now I can do a real kettlebell if I want. And the progression from there, the toughest thing I do, thank you Steve Rader for that video of the squat progression, is the hover lunge. So I'm just in the air going down. You saw me doing these in the meadow on my run. You can see the instability. I'll try to do a couple good ones for the camera, but absolutely fantastic for building that balance. And then you can also pick up a weight. And then if I'm doing 5 or 10, that's fantastic. I can't do any more, but whew, there we go. Now we're locking in. Kettlebell hover lunge. All right. Working those problem areas. This gets sore and tight. Get some knee pain going on, so great thing to do before a workout too. Or at the end of the day, whatever you want. Another micro workout. The iron neck. Just got this thing. Learning all these cool new exercises. Seems pretty important to have a healthy neck. I know mine gets stiff and sore all the time from an assortment of different sports, especially high jumping. Pretty much of a strain on the neck. And now this unit really allows you to work through a nice range of motion against resistance. Loving it, man. Couple minutes here, couple minutes there. I'll have that football neck someday. Yeah. An eye chart, you say? What for? It's this incredible new kick I'm on after talking to Jake Steiner of endmyopia.org. He made an incredible case for the likelihood that we're completely flawed with our approach to corrective lenses to see better. And you think about how we work our muscles and try to stay in shape, but then we just throw glasses on without a second thought, and everybody thinks it's part of life that your eyes get worse over time. But listen to my incredible podcast with him where he talks about challenging your eyes and keeping them fit and sharp so that you don't need corrective vision, which is kind of a shortcut, instead of giving your eyes a little bit of challenge once in a while. So as soon as I finished the interview with him, I was all inspired. I put my glasses aside and I've been working on the computer, zooming in so I can see bigger fonts. Turns out I don't need glasses that much. So here's a cool test you can do. If you're out and about for a while, like out on a hike and seeing outdoors for a while, you come in and you got the eye chart going, and so you can see my tape on the ground where these are markings when my eyes are fresh and have been activated outdoors with all kinds of good visual acuity. Then I can see, it says right eye fresh, so I cover my left eye and I can easily read the bottom row. But then if I come here and do the test, after a prolonged period on the computer where my eyes are in that fixed position for a long time, and that's the muscle contracting and staying contracted for a long period of time, I notice that I have to move the tape way up to see that bottom line clearly. In other words, your eyes get worse from working on the computer without a break. So if you can take those frequent breaks, look at distant objects, and have this strain awareness that Jake calls, which means making the writing on your computer screen a tiny, tiny bit blurry to challenge your eyes to focus. Over time, your eyesight will improve to the extent that you can put aside, oh my gosh, I have so many pairs of glasses around. I have reading glasses and I have distance vision glasses that I mostly use at nighttime. But again, challenging the eyes rather than putting these things on as a crutch for the rest of your life, something to think about, and you can make steady progress. And I'm proving it right here with my eye test. It's vastly superior on the heels of being out and about and outdoors versus staring at the screen. Fun stuff. Anyway, that's my eye chart. Okay, I'll show you what I'm making for dinner. Big feast tonight. This is lamb and bison burger with some sun-dried tomatoes and onions. Delicious. Salmon. Marinating with a lot of salt to get that crispy skin. Guac, pretty simple. And oh, what do I have here that I've slaved over all day? Oh, maybe these came from a nearby restaurant. We are dialed. Boom, 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 boom. You know, for my YouTube channel.
So you have a lot of followers?
Trying. All right, evening stroll with the dog. What a way to end. And it doesn't hurt for people to get some fresh air either, but especially if you have a dog. Take him or her out for a stroll at night. Good girl. Okay, who else needs healthy food? The star of the show, Lucy Stew Dog. And I learned from the paleo canine enthusiasts that, geez, you can get the very best kibble, the expensive stuff with no grains, but it's still like eating potato chips every single day or processed food. So trying really hard to get her with some fresher stuff. So we always go with the mackerel and the sardines, make a big mashup. She gets lucky tonight with some leftover steak, and recommendation was also to put a little bit of yogurt in there to help with their digestion, and then she'll have a little bit of kibble and a nice mix of fresh fish on top. She absolutely loves it. See if you want to try it out with your dog and introduce them slowly so their digestive system to get used to it, but give them something fresh besides just the kibble. You'll notice right away that it's working because the coat will start to shine and she'll start to have more energy out there in the forest chasing after fish in the creek or chipmunks in the trees. Feed your dog. Yeah, good stuff. it's the end of another day. I'd like to say that I'm spending my relaxing evening reading a book, but a lot of times I'm catching up because I'm goofing around a lot during the day, so trying to minimize that computer use in the evening. Now with my non-prescription glasses, my eyes kind of get tired. It motivates me to shut the lid at some point and get to sleep. But nice relaxing home evening, doing what we're doing. Thank you so much for watching.